Looks real enough, you know. You ever seen $100 Canadian? And this is the back. And look at this. It's see, it's like basically half plastic, half paper. But $100. Why I'm laughing is because with this stupid, you know, Uber, right? It takes like 8 hours to earn this. Gross. And then of course there's gas. So basically I'm telling you, like, basically what I've been doing recently is I've been cutting on this because, you know, I just wanted to try because it's fun, you know. I like driving this, you know, brand new Jeep, and it's not that expensive. But yeah, like, I think yesterday I came out in the evening from 4 to 7. I made $60. Like, what? And what's funny is that until 6 it showed $40, because I did like 3 trips where 2 guys didn't give me 0 tip, didn't give me any tip. But then at 6 o'clock I received an email, says, hey, this guy gave you $12, this guy gave you $10, you know. But still, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. How do they expect people to work for, like, it's less than minimum wage, but basically. But what it is, why I have this money is because yesterday I knew they would not cheat. So the auction 2 days ago, they sent me email, kind of like a notification, you know, like a disbursement notice, whatever it's called, right? Kind of like saying, okay, this is how much your forklift sold for, this is our fee, this is what you should receive. And they said the money, the wire transfer was initiated at the time this email was sent. You know, like, these guys are so efficient, you know, like, really. It's been a great experience. You know, not so great when I was a trucker, because they never help you load, they never help you unload, because that's against their policy, right? But for a buyer, when I bought this clock forklift, and now then when I sold it, the support was terrific. You know, I'm super happy with the experience. And so they basically, I bought the forklift for $5,250 Canadian, and there was a fee of 10%. So I think I paid them plus tax. I think I took out from my line of credit, I took out $6,500, and now it's sold for $7,250, and they took 12%. So basically they take more money from sellers than from buyers, and I think they took 800. And so what I got is I got $6,500. So pretty much, you know, exactly the same. But I did pay for a new battery. I did pay on the forklift. I did pay for 2 months of storage, which was like $120 Canadian a month. And I did pay for 2 trucks, one from the auction to the storage, and the other from the storage to the auction. So that's the only money that I kind of like lost, right? But like, as I mentioned before, I consider this to be kind of like a training fee. You know, you can go to a seminar, right, and pay somebody $1,000 to teach you how to, you know, trade equipment. But here I did my first, I consider it successful, you know, attempt to flip equipment. And it showed me how critical it is to take proper photos. Photos are everything, because people buy this, you know, sight unseen, and so they rely on photos. And if photos do not show the best parts of the machine, they will not pay good money, right? So that's why it sold higher because I insisted on adding photos of those brand new hydraulic hoses that were missing. So anyway, so the plan today is just I need to move this money to my line of credit at the other bank, and then see if maybe somebody will call me with something like freight broker related. Recently, it's, you know, I've been getting requests, and yesterday a gentleman called me. He says he watches my videos and he's buying a small bobcat in Ontario, and he needs it to be moved to Western Canada. And I said, yeah, sure, just let me know when you have it, because he says he's flying over just to look at it, but he says chances are I'm gonna buy it. And I said, yeah, and then just call me. And I said, I need to know, very important, is there a ramp, right? So do you need, like, it's a, you know, it's like less than 8,000 pounds, six wide, 6 tall, probably, I don't know, 10 feet long, you know, like a bobcat. They're kind of like square, right? And I need to know, can it be loaded on a flatbed, because the dimensions allow it, right? But for a flatbed you would need a ramp, you know, like a stationary ramp. And I said, what about at your place where you wanna, you know, be moved? And he says, oh, I can probably get like a tilt and load truck, you know, and we can unload it. If the trailer doesn't have ramps, he says I can call a tilt and load truck. So he's thinking good, because that's what I used to do when I was a tow truck driver, right? I had this tilt and load. Quite often people would hire us to, let's say they were moving a house, I still remember, and they rented probably a 40-foot container, right, on its chassis. And so the container, like a trailer, just sits there outside of their house. So of course regular stuff, you know, like, I don't know, furniture, I don't know, maybe you can just load it like that. But they hired that container for vehicles. And this guy had a minivan. I still remember, it was like a nice Chrysler or Dodge, you know, minivan, very sleek looking. And so they hired me, and, you know, I tilted the bed and the guy just drove it on the top. I lifted the bed, and then I backed to the container. And then of course I can play with the bed, you know, just to make sure that the end exactly matches the height. Because actually, yeah, those trucks, they're pretty low because they have small wheels, but the trailer was taller. And so I could put like the support in the very back. There's a support frame I can put on the ground, and I can actually lift the rear of the truck. And then I can move the bed till it, you know, solidly touches the beam at the bottom of the container. And then we just drove off that minivan into the container. So it was a bit scary because the container is like very narrow, right? But these tilt and load trucks can be very useful. And so this guy, you know, that's what he do, right? So let's say it comes on a flatbed. So he gets this tilt and load, you know, backs to the trailer. He drives the bobcat on the tilt and load. Then they separate. The guy drops his bed, boom, and you drive the bobcat down on the ground, you know. So he's okay doing that. Looks like, you know, he's not too concerned about ramps or no ramps. But of course, you know, it's just a partial load, but you know, it's still fun. I do like dealing with this shipments. So yeah, thinking about my my own MC number. I should get some money maybe today, maybe Monday. Remember I was mentioning I was helping a guy sell that Peterbilt truck and trailer. So the trailer sold like a few weeks ago, and now he called me. He says the truck sold, right? And he promised me some money. So once I have that, I'll go online and get my own MC number, like a broker MC number. By the way, I still have my carrier MC number. Maybe I can sell it to somebody. No, you don't. You cannot sell it. Because canceling is like such a pain in the butt, you know, canceling. There's a whole bunch of forms you have to fill out. But the best thing to do is just make it inactive, right? There's like, you give them a reason, like end of operations or something, or you know, you sold your business or something, right? And you just make that number inactive. Because I did have that issue with New York tax authorities, that for some reason, even though I notified them like 20 times that I'm no longer in trucking, they send me invoices like, hey, you know, you owe us money. And I found my old letter where I sent them everything I owed them, you know, like September, right? I think September, October, when I was selling. Yeah, these guys, and everybody look at this. Like, I'm the only guy. Oh, I see one more in the distance. Like, everybody is driving in. I don't know how they do it, you know. I try to do it. I'm so used to backing. See, like this guy came from that side and he started backing this way. I thought he would back into a spot. Instead, he just drove forward. But I mean, to me, it's dangerous because you see, like these guys are coming over here. They can come from there. And again, everybody's just driving in because they're so lazy, right? Captain Sergei is the only guy. Like, I see on the other side there, one guy in a Tesla. Like, sometimes, you know, people with expensive cars, they back them, right? So anyway, and then another thing is, I did decide to experiment with the muffler a little bit. So I just called that muffler place I went to a few weeks ago, and I thought maybe they can do it today. He says, no, you should, you have to come in the morning, come like 8 o'clock. You leave your car with us for a day. And then he says, it's going to be done on the same day. Like, yeah, I hope so. So anyway, we agreed that Monday morning, I'll drive over there. It's like 19 clicks from here because they're like in downtown Calgary. And well, I'm feeling pretty good today because I did run again, because today is Friday, so I jog Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So did 30 minutes, did a huge circle. I think I probably did like almost 5 clicks, almost like just over 3 miles. And then you just feel, you know, the heat in your cheeks, like my face is finally the proper color. So anyway, so now heading over to Starbucks, kill some time till lunch, and then go over to this other bank, deposit the money. Oh, and the auction has been sending me a bunch of notices. They have auctions in Alberta, so when I go online and check out to see if there's anything cheap, maybe I can buy something. I don't know, maybe some kind of a, you know, some guys make good money on accessories. You know, they don't buy the machine itself, they buy accessories, you know, like buckets, you know, stuff like that. So it's I like it. Like, it was an interesting experience, you know, buying this forklift and selling. Like, you feel, you know, you own something, right? You own a machine, and you feel pretty good, of course, unless you talk to somebody, right? Like, I talked to that Clark, you know, forklift shop, like the guy that specializes in fixing them, and he says, oh my God, you bought a Clark forklift? He says, new, they're leaking. They're famous for leaks. And if it leaks at the mast, you can spend $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 Canadian to fix it. And so after that, I did not feel very good, and that's why I spent money to fly over there, right? Because I wanted to see the machine in person. And I'm glad I did that, because that's when I noticed that it was actually refurbished a few years ago, right? That it had new hoses, pedals, all the rubbers were, you know, new seat. Like, it definitely was refurbished. When, I don't know. And then, of course, I also found out that that forklift was actually 50 years old, believe it or not, right? So I sent an email to the Clark factory, and those guys are amazing. They keep records, and they said 1973. I think it was 27. Yes. It was built in 1973. Because I felt so good, when I bought it. Last thing I want to say, like a guy I know that I was learning from about trading, he says, always look for hours, like he says, preferably under 5,000 hours, because for machinery that's very important, right? And so I was so excited to see that this forklift, the hours were like 3,500 or something like that. I was so proud of myself that I found a forklift and I bought it for $5,000. And then when I'm talking to this clock machinery guy, he says, oh, that's probably already one circle or maybe two circles, like he says, it depends how many digits are on that odometer or hour, speedometer, so to speak, right? So it's probably not 3,500, it's either 13,000 or it's 23,000, because it's 50 years old. So basically I got off easy. The worst thing that could have happened was that the forklift would have sold for $1,500, right? And then I would be out of a lot more money. So anyway, let me show you guys before picture, right? Because Monday is going to be different. So we have two outlets, right? One huge muffler, but only one pipe coming in, and it's squashed over there. You see this? How they squashed it? I hate when they do that. And so we're gonna do something about this. So Monday evening, I'm gonna show you, and it should look different. And for some reason, when I started the car in the morning and it was cold, there was smoke or steam coming out of here and nothing coming out of there. Oh shoot. Why did it open? I think because I waved my hand in there. I'm sorry. Why not closing? Because I'm standing here? That's weird. One thing I could never figure out is how to open the trunk with your foot. Never works. Forget it. I like the black roof. Anyway, let's go get some coffee. I cannot believe the weather today. Look at this. Plus 12 Celsius. Plus 12. In the morning it was plus 9. And I know plus 10 is exactly 50 F. So, see, you have to wear, today is what, July 28th? Man, definitely feels like we are in the mountains, because I didn't even realize that Calgary was, we are what, like 1,000 meters of elevation above the sea level, like over 3,300 feet. And of course mountains are 1 hour west, so I don't remember when I was in Ontario, so that in July it would be this cold, and you have to wear, coats and stuff like that. And everybody, I look outside, everybody is dressed, kind of like feels like either fall or spring, it doesn't feel like summer at all. Well, I just wasted probably half an hour at the bank because there's only one ATM, and there was like a very old couple and they were there for 40 minutes paying their bills, and so I lined up at the you know, where all the people go to the counter, and there's only 2 clerks working. So man, and the lineup was huge, because this is another good location, like too busy. Usually I go to the other one, but anyway, I deposited that 3 grand to my line of credit to repay a little bit what I spent. So now I guess I'll go home for lunch. What is it, 11:42, so 18 minutes before noon. I bought some kebabs yesterday, some beef and chicken kebabs, and I bake them in the oven. They taste it takes like 15-20 minutes at 450 F. Oh, and one thing I wanted to mention is that tomorrow, I hope the weather will be better, but tomorrow I'm doing another photography gig. They're hiring me for 4 hours at 50 bucks, so another 200 bucks Canadian, and I'll be shooting, looks like it's a food market, like tomorrow Saturday, right? So it's like a farmer's market or whatever, and they told me where to go. I have to be there like 11:45, from 11:45 to AM to 3:45 PM, so 4 hours. So I charged all my cameras, and they want to do a video as well, so I gotta charge the GoPro, and it's gonna be fun. I love doing photography, you know, it really feels like, you know, you kind of like gives you some self-respect, as opposed to, you know, delivering pizzas and burgers. Well, I just crawled under the car trying to measure the diameter of the pipe, and I don't know if you guys know this, but one cool way to measure is use something like this, and then you wrap around, you know, wrap around the pipe, right, and you make a note, and then you just take and measure how long is your tape, right? So in my case, when I measured the outside tips, but they are clearly visible, so they were 2 3/4, the outside tips, right, on the basically the outlets, but the pipe, the main pipe coming from the engine, seemed a bit smaller, and so since it's closed, I couldn't just measure, right? So I used this tape method, and I found it was just slightly less than 8 inches, and then you take 8 and you divide by 314, and that gave me 2.54, but it was a bit less, so I think 2.5 times 3, yeah, that's what it was. So basically the main pipe is 2.5 inches, and the outlets is 2 3/4, because I might end up, I don't really like, you know, straight piping. I might just end up, you know, getting a performance muffler. By the way, here's another addition to my music studio. I'm so happy that this was like 30 bucks, 40 bucks, you know, this music stand, and it's collapsible, telescopic, and now after what, like 5 years, I'm learning this. This is a very cool piece of Russian folk music. It's called the Orlovskie Stradания. It's hard to translate that, but basically it's just, I don't know, like a little, you know, piece for this, for the garmoshka. I'll give you a taste how it sounds. Hold on, if I can make my tripod behave. It's pretty complicated because it has various, you know, a couple of difficult spots, but at least I think I nailed down the right hand. And then repeats. It's kind of like a nice little play, and you're supposed to play it really fast, you know, with, of course, with both hands. I really like it. Anyway, so I'm back home, as you can see, and just working in warming up my oven. And then we're gonna have some kebabs, chicken and beef. And I don't like it so cold, so nasty outside. I don't feel like doing any Ubering later today, because tomorrow I'm making some good money with photography. So anyway, so those are the news. Thanks for watching. Ciao.